is Lynn with Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com, and today I thought I would do a topic that's been in the news a lot. I've received a few questions to get my insight, so here it goes. It's about the refugee camps and the Caravan. There's been caravans of refugees throughout Europe, and now there's one in Mexico getting ready to head toward the U.S. border. So the question that was sent to me is as follows. I've been watching the news and seeing a lot about the refugee caravans and camps. It always amazes me how clean the clothes are. It isn't just what's going on in Mexico. I've seen it in African refugee camps also. As I see it, the best solution for this is to coordinate with the Mexican government and establish a refugee camp on Mexican soil. And the issue is, how many more caravans are going to be coming? Perhaps life in a refugee camp with tents, food, education, and some health care would be preferable to life in Guatemala or Honduras for many. As I understand it, the huge corporation United Fruit Company owns the best lands for banana plantations and pays the workers very poorly. The U.S. government over the decades has cooperated by having a heavy hand in decisions as to who is president of these countries, and to my understanding has played a role in some of this. I am curious of your thoughts. Best regards. So, just in tuning into this situation, even thinking about the questions and the points that were raised within the question, what I got was, this is a really tough situation for everyone involved. These refugees didn't necessarily have a great life or an easy life or maybe even a happy life. But the bigger image that I got when I tuned into it was I saw this chessboard, and it looked as though these people are pawns in a game. Some may suspect they are pawns in the game. Some are oblivious to it and just don't even care. The point is they want to leave where they're at and are going to where it's incentivized to be. And when I looked at this, it looks as though the countries that they're fleeing, there's just so little opportunity for growth or to have a better life or to be able to provide for families or any of those kind of things, that they want to go somewhere else where they can have a better life. And the government is partly to blame, and ultimately also, the powers that were, and I talk about them a lot, they're pretty smart in seeing opportunity and seizing opportunity. And they feel like they've also played a role into the demise of some of these countries, some of the social structure, some of the economic structure, whether it's politically driven, economically driven. They look like they're also a player within this. And, as these people are leaving and they're fleeing here, Mexico is better than what they left, but I heard this phrase of the U.S. being a land of opportunity, and that's really where they want to get to. And the powers that were, they're willing to assist in this relocation through assistance and through instigating people, trying to herd them up and draw them up north. But they want something in return, and that might not be clear to these people yet. That's where the chess game and being a pawn comes into play. And so what I did was I asked myself, in readings a lot of times I'll ask myself questions because it's things I want to know, or maybe I get to a point where I've seen all what I can see and the images aren't coming, so I'll mentally ask, put further intent out there, whatever it is I want to know. And in this situation, I wanted to know, what is there to gain from doing this? And I heard that the powers that were, they want to get a surge of people into the U.S., which is one of the strongest countries. So ultimately the powers that were want to weaken the country. That's first off. And in exchange for doing that, they want to get them on social systems and assistance. That's the light at the end of the tunnel for these people. And by doing so, there's going to be this assumed loyalty and for the government, and also it's going to grow a voter base. And I heard that phase 2 of this is going to be to try to get all these immigrants that are pouring into the country voting status. And the goal would be to have them vote in a way that aligns with the agendas that they want to create, meaning more socialism and that type of stuff. And so these people, this was interesting too, what I got, that these people that are traveling hundreds or thousands of miles, you have to have certain footwear to do that. You have to have certain clothing to do that. You have to have food, water, even latrines. There are certain things that you need to make that type of journey. You don't necessarily go in flip-flops, or even a normal pair of tennis shoes is going to wear out. And so what I got was the powers that were, they are busing and helping and creating camps and supplies to help these people get to their goal of the United States. Now, granted, there is some walking, and the media likes to take opportune photos of groups of people walking, such as the bridge picture that I showed, but there's also a lot of other assistance along the way. So don't always be fooled by what the mainstream wants you to see, because there's so much more going on behind the scenes. And I did get, if they're allowed to come in, another surge is going to occur, but Trump isn't going to allow this. And I got that the PTW are hoping that there's some kind of big event there, and they're going to use that as part of their midterm platform. They're going to use that to hype up the fear, hype up all these things to try to get a more, I guess, democratic voter base, because ultimately the goal is to try to get Trump out of there. And the only way to do it is to elevate the Democratic, pool within the United States. So that's where they're headed with this. And I also got that some people are going to slip into the country, but most are going to be turned away and stay in Mexico. And I get that the U.S. is going to send some kind of aid or help, but it feels like it all occurs on the Mexican soil. And that was all I got for the refugee camps and the caravan and that situation that's going on now. Please feel free to leave a comment, share me, like me, all those great things. They help me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of you. And again, this is Lynn with Psychic Focus at psychicfocus.blogspot.com. Thank you. Bye.